Hackett. I'm from Manhattan, New York City. I like to paint thick. I use a lot of paint, like thick brush strokes. I guess you could say it's a realistic style of painting. It's not abstract, but it's not photorealistic. It's more of like an impressionist style of painting. My drawing style is a lot sharper. It's line-based, it's clean. There's no real blending or shading. It's just lines, dots, and like filled spaces of color. So if you looked at my paintings and drawings side by side, you would have trouble even telling if the same person did them because they're done so differently. But the subject matter is the same in some of them. So I find myself drawing more frequently than I paint, but I identify as a painter. It's like what I primarily think about. Most of the times I'm drawing to stay in shape for the painting. I'm painting sometimes based on my surroundings. So in a way I'm documenting New York City, and it can be kind of like a historical snapshot of the time and place I grew up in and the kind of culture I saw. It's not always obvious exactly how I feel about what I'm painting or what the painting means itself, but definitely I do think and put a spin on things based on what I choose to paint and how I choose to paint it. Often I'll redo the same image over and over, so I'll do a painting, then I'll do a drawing later, and then I'll do a painting again. So I try to familiarize myself with something by doing it over and over again. I often don't do a drawing specifically thinking that later I'll do a painting of the same drawing, but sometimes I remember when I was in school I would do an oil painting, then I'd do a woodcut in printmaking, and then I'd go back and do another oil painting and hopefully kind of discover something by switching the mediums to make the next one better. Well, I think the internet is really pretty much the prime way most people are seeing and even interacting with each other nowadays. So kind of artists are being forced in a way to have some kind of an internet presence, and that's good and bad. I mean, I feel that things like Instagram, it can in a way cheapen the art or make it seem less important because it's being consumed side by side with images of food or people's selfies. And so I know some artists, they are like, oh yeah, I don't like to put my artwork on Instagram, period. Ideally, I'd like to have my work viewed in galleries mainly, but obviously you're not gonna always be in a gallery, or there might be a stretch where you don't have a show or you're not represented by a gallery. So you can always have your work on the internet and being shown on the internet, even when you didn't have a space to show your work. So I think it's interesting the impact that the internet is having on artists in general, and it's definitely changed the art world as a whole. Art is the most important part of my life. You know, it's something that gives me a purpose, it gives me a direction. Like even throughout all parts of my growing up, I was always drawing and making stuff and thinking about creating things. So it's been the most consistent thing in my life, and it's given me direction. Like I knew that it gave me a sense of satisfaction that I didn't really get from anything else. Making art will always be there with me, and even when I was feeling good, when I was feeling bad, the high and low points in my life, I was always making art throughout. And looking back at old sketchbooks and stuff, I can kind of relive the moments when I made those. Making art is an interesting way to catalog your life. It gives me a pride about myself and gives me a sense of self-worth. And I think it's really important to have something in your life that drives you, that makes you want to get up in the morning and go do stuff. That's why.